Welcome to Hope Inspires 247, the spark that ignites the flames of critical thinking and passionate discourse. I'm your host, CC, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey into the world of politics. In a world filled with turmoil and confusion, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected from the issues that shape our lives. But we believe that by coming together, sharing our perspective, and engaging in meaningful conversation, we can create a brighter, more just future for all. The potential U.S. mass deportation could have a significant financial and social impact on Jamaica and its economy. Imagine a scenario where thousands of Jamaicans living in the U.S. are suddenly deported back to their home country. This would not only affect the individuals being deported, but also their families, friends, and communities back in Jamaica. From a financial perspective, Jamaica could face a significant loss of remittances, which are a crucial source of income for many families. According to some estimates, remittances from the U.S. to Jamaica could decrease by as much as 20 to 30% if mass deportations were to occur. This would have a devastating impact on the Jamaican economy, as remittances account for a significant portion of the country's GDP.
President-elect Trump signaling he intends to follow through on a campaign promise on immigration, responding true to a social media post saying he's prepared to declare a national emergency and use military assets for a mass deportation program.
We're going to take handcuffs off ICE, we'll do the job, secure the country, protect the American communities, and arrest the bad guys first.
The Trump team arguing the president-elect has a clear mandate for change.
Furthermore, the sudden influx of deported individuals could put a strain on Jamaica's social services, including healthcare, education, and housing. The country's infrastructure might not be equipped to handle the increased demand, leading to a decline in the overall quality of life for Jamaicans. Additionally, the social impact of mass deportations could be felt for generations to come, as families are torn apart and communities are disrupted.
But at the end of that, you get order removed, you're going home. And if you choose while you're here to give birth to an illegal, to a U.S. citizen child, well, guess what? When you get removed, you can leave the child here or you can take them with you. Law enforcement separates families all across this country every day, but they want a different set of rules for illegal aliens, and there just can't be a different set of rules.
A recent study estimated up to 4 million mixed-status families could be separated under Trump's plan. And NBC News has exclusive new reporting about how some of those families are trying to get ready. NBC's Julia Ainsley joins us now. So, Julia, we're talking about families with some members who are U.S. citizens or green card holders and some who do not have legal status. So what are they doing now?
You know, I spoke to a family like that just before the election. They talked about how they were going to have to decide how to move forward with their life, whether or not their father could be as much out and around in their community as they were before because he would be worried about deportation. My producer, Dee Martinez, spoke to a family in Pennsylvania after the election. They're doing things like trying to get power of attorney, getting passports for their U.S. citizen children so that they could visit their father if he's deported to Mexico. These are things that a lot of families are working on, especially when you look at families where both parents are undocumented and the children are citizens. They could be coming home from school to an empty house. They're working on putting together information and telling the children what to do and what adults they can safely contact in the event that that would happen. An estimated 4 million families are in that situation, Anna.
Are there any legal avenues for these families to try to fight these policies?
Certainly their best avenue could be through a class action lawsuit. That would likely come from the ACLU. We've already seen them sue ICE to try to get, and the new administration to try to get information on what they will use to fly charter planes. They want more information. They also want to look at the way the incoming Trump administration goes about deportations. For example, if they invoke the law that Trump himself has says he will use in order to use the military, that would basically classify undocumented immigrants in this country as an invasion from a foreign government, they would, of course, challenge that. They could represent these families who have been deported or had some members of their families be deported and say that Trump should not be able to use the pathways he did to justify these mass deportations.
The Jamaican economy could also face challenges in terms of labor market integration. Many of the deported individuals would be returning to Jamaica with skills and experience gained in the U.S., but they might struggle to find employment in their field. This could lead to a brain drain, as talented individuals are forced to take on low-skilled jobs or become entrepreneurs in a challenging economic environment.
Border crossings, as asylum seekers from Venezuela, Haiti, and other nations sought refuge. Now, with Trump's plans for the largest mass deportation in US history, Canada is bracing for another wave. At the same time, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced cuts to Canada's immigration targets, hoping to slow down the country's rapid population growth ahead of the 2025 elections.
Immigration is essential for Canada's future, but it must be controlled and it must be sustainable. With today's annual immigration plan, that is precisely what we're doing.
The latest polls show growing dissatisfaction, with half of Canadians concerned about the impact of immigration. Trudeau's move, though, to cut immigration from 500,000 to 395,000 people in 2025 may be too little, too late to win back disillusioned voters.
It's fair to say that we've had to make some changes that reflect concerns by Canadians, our own concern about the impact of the flow of migration that has been aggressive in particularly the last couple of years. It's safe to say that we own a part of that. It's also safe to say, particularly on the inflow of temporary residents, that we perhaps should have acted a little sooner.
During the last migration spike, Canada resettled more refugees than any other country in the world. This time, though, the country is preparing for an even larger wave as Trump's mass deportations approach. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police has already deployed additional officers to patrol the 800-kilometre border with Quebec, but their task is enormous. At a length of almost 9,000 kilometres, the US-Canada border is the longest in the world.
For just under 2 years, the Canadian public has been
to mitigate these effects, the Jamaican government could consider implementing policies to support the reintegration of deported individuals, such as job training programs, education and skills development initiatives,
At the moment,
and
there are more
social
people crossing the
support
border
services.
illegally going from
Additionally,
Canada
the
to
government
the
could
United
work
States.
to diversify
It's part of
the
why Donald
economy,
Trump has threatened
reducing
tariffs
its reliance
unless
on
border security is
remittances
tightened.
and promoting
The
economic
RCMP
growth
is
through
in the process
innovation
of doing that.
and entrepreneurship.
But actually it's more in response to the threat of another wave of asylum seekers coming from the US to Canada.
So that's the irony, that President-elect Trump wants to penalize Canada for failing to control the flow of illegal border crossings into the U.S., while many are predicting that that will go into reverse, with thousands instead crossing into Canada. And that's just as Ottawa tries to reduce immigration. Well, joining me now to debate what could really happen, as well as the political and social consequences, are from Vancouver, founder of the Cultural Action Party of Canada, Brad Salzberg. From Toronto, Canada Excellence Research Chair in Migration and Integration at Toronto Metropolitan University, Anna Triandafilidou. And also from Toronto, Emeritus Professor of Political Science at the University of Toronto, Nelson Wiseman. Thanks all so much for being with me. Brad, I'll start with you. And first, let's look at how likely it is that this trend of illegal crossings from Canada into the U.S. will turn around. And will Canada need to beef up security on the border, if it even can, given it's almost 9,000 kilometers long?
I would say that progress will be made in this area, but it should be stated that much of this is done with reluctance on the part of the Canadian federal government. As you mentioned, the threat of the 25% tariff is serving and will serve as an incentive for the Trudeau government, the ruling Liberal government of Canada, to be more vigilant in this regard. And we have seen signs of that of late. And yes, I think some progress will be made, but I do believe that without Mr. Trump's incentive of this across-the-board tariff, it would be the vigilance on the part of government would be far less.
Okay, well, let me ask Anna then if you are, first of all, actually expecting a surge when President Trump takes office, or actually before he takes office, because some of the Canadian police officials are saying that people are going to try to run into Canada before January. Do you think that is actually true, and does Canada need to be ready?
Well, I think, first of all, it is important to say that this is an alive border. It's a border that connects the two countries. It's not a border that separates them. And there's a lot of families, a lot of businesses that live on the both sides of the border. So I think that is important to understand the nature of this border. And as you said, it's a very long one. So it's not one that can be policed. And Canada and the United States in their history have not been used to police such a border in ways that we have seen in other places in the world, including, for instance, Europe. I think there is a lot of talk right now about what would happen to people with precarious status in the United States. And unfortunately, there are many of them. We have estimates there's 12.5 million without status or with very precarious status. The famous DACA people, so the people of deferred action, people have lived in the United States all their lives.
In terms of specific industries, Jamaica's tourism sector could be particularly affected. Many Jamaicans working in the U.S. tourism industry might be deported, leading to a loss of expertise and knowledge in this critical sector. Similarly, the agricultural sector could face challenges, as deported individuals with experience in farming and agriculture might struggle to find work in Jamaica. In conclusion, the potential U.S. mass deportation could have far-reaching financial and social impacts on Jamaica and its economy. It's essential for the Jamaican government, civil society, and international organizations to work together to prepare for this scenario and develop strategies to support the reintegration of deported individuals. Thank you for watching this video. If this kind of content resonates with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.